You ever have those days where you feel like you're just drowning in a sea of tasks? Your to-do list just seems to get longer and longer, and there's never, ever enough time? Well, you're not alone. But what if there was a simple, really powerful way to get control of your day? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today, using the incredible ideas from Brian Tracy's book, Eat That Frog.
Okay, so let's dive right into this. What makes Eat That Frog so amazing is that it's not about some complex system or downloading a bunch of fancy apps. Nope, it's a practical, hands-on framework that's all about helping you beat procrastination and consistently tackle your most important work.
So, we're going to break this method down into 6 key parts. We'll start with the main idea, the frog philosophy itself. Then we'll get into clarity and planning, ruthless prioritization, and how to sharpen your focus. After that, we'll cover execution and energy and wrap it all up with the one habit that really makes it all stick.
All right, so what's with the frog? I know, it sounds a little weird, but this one central idea is the key to why this whole system works so well. And it actually comes from a classic piece of advice.
Brian Tracy took this brilliant line from Mark Twain and turned it into an incredible productivity tool. The idea is so simple but so profound. If you get your most challenging task out of the way first, the rest of your day is going to feel like a walk in the park.
So in this system, your frog is that one single critical task. It's not just any task on your list, it's the one that's going to have the biggest positive impact on your life and your work right now. When you get it done, you get this amazing surge of energy and accomplishment that just powers you through the rest of your day.
And to make this work, there are just 2 simple rules. First rule, if you've got a couple of big tasks, you always tackle the biggest, hardest, ugliest one first. Rule number 2, don't sit there staring at it, don't overthink it, you just have to build the habit of jumping right in first thing in the morning.
Okay, so we know we need to eat our biggest frog first. But how do we even know which frog is the right one to eat? Well, that's where the foundation of all real productivity comes in, having absolute clarity and a solid plan.
You know, here's a simple truth that separates the people who achieve amazing things from those who just dream about them. A goal that isn't written down is basically just a wish. The simple act of putting a pen to paper makes your intentions real. And get this, that tiny 3% of people who actually do this consistently achieve 5 to 10 times more than everyone else. Just think about that for a second. So Tracy gives us this proven 7-step formula to turn those wishes into reality. You decide what you want, you write it down, set a deadline, and create a plan. But you know the real magic? It happens in those last 2 steps, taking action immediately and then doing something, anything, every single day that moves you forward.
And this leads us to the 10-90 rule, which is just a fantastic way to think about planning. Just spending 10 or 12 minutes planning out your day can save you up to 2 hours in wasted time and effort later on. I mean, if that's not the ultimate productivity hack, I don't know what is.
So, once you've got a clear written plan, the next big challenge is figuring out where to start. You can't do everything at once, right? So this is where ruthless prioritization becomes your secret weapon. You might have heard of the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. It is an absolute game changer. It basically says that about 20% of what you do, the vital few, is going to produce 80% of your results. Your job is to find your frogs hiding in that 20% and focus on them like a laser.
And a great way to apply this is with the ABCD method. You just go through your daily list. A tasks are your absolute must-dos. Those are your frogs. And the golden rule here is you never do a B or C task while an A task is still sitting there. And if you have more than one A task, you just number them, A1, A2. Your A1 is always your biggest, ugliest frog.
This all leads to this really powerful idea called creative procrastination. Look, since you have to procrastinate on something, because you can't do it all, high performers make a conscious choice. They choose to procrastinate on the low-value stuff to make more time for the really important things.
So once you've got a handle on daily prioritizing, you can use that same thinking for your entire career. It stops being about just what you do each day and starts being about strategically focusing on where you, specifically, create the most value. To do this, you've got to figure out your key result areas, or KRAs. These are the handful of results you absolutely, positively have to get to succeed in your job. And what's really important to understand is that your weakest KRA acts like a bottleneck. It holds back all your other skills. So you should constantly be asking yourself this one powerful question. The answer points you directly to your most important frog when it comes to personal development.
Whatever that skill is, that is exactly where you need to focus your energy on improving.
And this brings us to the law of 3, which is just staggering when you really think about it. It says that a full 90% of your value to your company comes from just 3 of your core tasks. 3! So your job is to identify those 3 things and then build your entire workday around getting them done. Now, knowing what you're supposed to do is one thing, but actually doing it, that's a whole other ballgame. So let's look at how to tackle those huge, intimidating frogs and keep your energy up to see them through to the end. For those frogs that just seem way too big to even start, you can use these 2 brilliant little tricks. With the salami slice method, you just tackle one small piece at a time. Or with the Swiss cheese method, you just commit to working on it for like 5 or 10 minutes. Both of these work by basically tricking your brain into starting, and that builds momentum, which, let's be honest, is often the hardest part.
And of course, none of this is even possible if you're running on empty. Productivity isn't just about managing your time. It's about managing your energy. Prioritizing things like sleep, rest, and good food isn't some kind of luxury. It's the absolute foundation of high performance.
All right, finally, let's talk about the master habit. This is the thing that brings all these principles together and really turns you into a high performer.
You see, it all comes down to action. The most successful people have what's called a bias for action. They don't get stuck just thinking and analyzing forever. They launch quickly and strongly toward their goals. They develop a real sense of urgency, especially when it comes to eating their frogs. So the crucial takeaway from all of this is pretty simple. This system works when you work it. So I want you to take a moment right now and identify that one task, your biggest, ugliest frog. Then decide on the very next single action you can take to start making progress on it. Trust me, your future self is going to thank you.